Have you ever told yourself, "I won't trust again," and then found yourself slowly opening up anyway? Even after being hurt, even after disappointment, something in you still leans toward trust. And that confuses you. Do you ever wonder why this keeps happening to you? Why you still trust after being hurt, when part of you wants to shut down completely? Feels like weakness, like you didn't learn your lesson. But what if that's not true? What if the part of you that still trusts isn't broken at all? The pain of being hurt doesn't just disappear. It lingers in how you think, how you respond, even how cautious you become around people. And yet, despite all of that, you still find yourself wanting connection. You still notice when someone is genuine. You still feel the pull to trust, even if a part of you resists it. That can feel confusing, almost frustrating, like you didn't learn from what happened. But this isn't about forgetting the past. It's about how you're wired. You're built to connect, to relate, to find safety in understanding and mutual respect. Your mind may hold onto the memory of what went wrong, but your deeper nature still seeks what feels right. That doesn't make you weak. It means there's still something intact within you. Instead of shutting that down, the shift is to guide it. Let your experiences inform your awareness, not erase your ability to trust. You don't have to stop trusting altogether. You just have to become more intentional with where and how you place it. After being hurt, it's easy to look back and think you gave too much too soon. So the next time, you either pull back completely or move forward the same way, hoping it turns out differently. Both come from the same place, uncertainty about what trust should actually look like. Trust is often misunderstood as immediate openness, as if you have to give access before it's earned. But real trust doesn't work that way. It develops through observation, consistency, and time. It allows space for you to notice patterns, to see how someone responds under pressure, to understand whether their actions match their words. When you begin to see trust this way, it stops feeling like a risk and starts becoming a process. You don't need to expose everything to feel connected. You can stay aware, grounded, and still open. That balance changes everything. It protects your peace while allowing you to move forward without carrying the same vulnerability that once led to hurt. Sometimes you trust again quickly, not because you feel safe, but because you don't want to feel affected. You want to prove to yourself that what happened didn't change you, that you're still strong, still open, still capable of moving forward without hesitation. So you step in faster than you should, hoping that action itself will silence the discomfort. It may even look like confidence on the surface, but underneath, there's pressure. Pressure to move on, to not look back, to not feel stuck. Have you ever caught yourself doing that? Trying to move past something before you've actually processed it. Real strength doesn't come from how quickly you move forward. It comes from how honestly you acknowledge where you are. When you allow yourself to slow down, to notice what still feels unsettled, you create space for genuine healing. Trust doesn't need to be rushed to prove anything. It needs to be rebuilt in a way that feels steady, where your actions reflect clarity rather than reaction. You may have left the situation, changed your environment, or distanced yourself from what caused the hurt. But internally, parts of that experience can still remain active. They show up in subtle ways: hesitation in your decisions, sensitivity to certain behaviors, or a quiet tension you can't fully explain. That's often a sign that something hasn't been fully understood yet. When the experience isn't processed, the mind tends to repeat patterns, not because you want to relive them, but because it's still trying to make sense of what happened. Do you ever wonder why similar situations keep appearing, even when you try to avoid them? It's not coincidence. It's a signal. Emotional healing doesn't come from simply moving on. It comes from taking a step back and asking the right questions. What exactly affected you? What did you ignore at the time? What can you recognize now that you couldn't before? That awareness begins to change how you respond, making your next steps more grounded and intentional. Even after being hurt, a part of you still holds on to hope. Not in a dramatic way, but quietly, in how you still look for something genuine, something stable, something that feels right. That hope can feel confusing, especially when your past experience tells you to be more guarded. You might question it, thinking it's what led you into disappointment before. But hope itself isn't the problem. It's what you do with it. When hope is left without awareness, it can make you overlook what matters, or rush into situations that haven't earned your trust yet. But when it's grounded, it becomes something steady. It allows you to stay open without losing clarity. You can hope for better, while still paying attention to what's actually happening in front of you. That balance changes how you move forward. You're no longer relying on expectation alone. You're combining it with observation, with patience, with a clearer sense of what aligns and what doesn't. There's also a deeper layer that often goes unnoticed. It's not just about trusting others, it's about how much you trust yourself. After being hurt, that self-trust can weaken. You start questioning your judgment, wondering if you missed something obvious or ignored signs that were there. That uncertainty affects how you respond moving forward. You might overthink simple decisions, hesitate when something feels right, or go against your instincts because you're no longer sure they can be relied on. This is where the real work begins. Rebuilding trust with yourself doesn't require big changes. It starts with small, consistent moments of awareness. Paying attention to what you feel, what you notice, and how situations unfold over time. When you begin to respect your own observations again, that doubt starts to ease. You don't feel the need to rush or withdraw completely. Instead, your decisions become more grounded, guided by a growing sense of clarity that comes from within. After being hurt, closing yourself off can feel like the safest option. You tell yourself that if you don't let anyone in, nothing can reach you. No disappointment, no confusion, no emotional strain. At first, that distance can even feel peaceful, like you've finally taken control. But over time, something else begins to surface. A quiet sense of disconnection, not just from others, but from parts of yourself as well. You become more guarded, more watchful, always trying to anticipate what might go wrong. That constant awareness can be exhausting. Protection in this form turns into tension. Real safety doesn't come from shutting everything out. It comes from understanding what you allow in and why. When you develop clarity instead of walls, you respond rather than react. You notice what feels right and what doesn't, without needing to withdraw completely. That shift allows you to stay open in a way that feels stable, not exposed, where your peace isn't dependent on avoiding everything around you. It may seem like you're repeating the same cycle, trusting, getting hurt, and then finding yourself in a similar situation again. That can lead to frustration, making you question whether anything is actually changing. But if you look closely, there are differences. You notice things earlier. You pause where you didn't before. You reflect more deeply on what you're experiencing. Those are signs that something is evolving. Growth doesn't always feel dramatic or immediate. It often shows up in subtle adjustments, in how you interpret situations and how you respond to them. You're not starting from the same place each time. You're building awareness even if it feels slow. That awareness is what gradually changes your direction. It allows you to move forward with more intention, where your decisions are shaped by understanding rather than habit. Over time, that shift becomes more visible, not through sudden change, but through consistent, quieter progress. So now you see it differently. Why you still trust after being hurt is not about weakness. It's about your nature, your hope, and your ability to grow through experience. The goal is not to stop trusting. The goal is to trust with awareness, patience, and self-respect. That's where real strength lives. That's where inner peace begins. So ask yourself honestly, what have your past experiences taught you that you can apply moving forward? Share your thoughts below. How are you healing today? And remember, you don't have to close your heart to protect it. You just have to understand it better.